So when I first started making videos, one of the first things that I reviewed was Mission Hill, but just like my handwriting, it wasn't very good. So consider this a re-review. One thing that I want to bring up about Mission Hill is that it is one of those shows that only has 13 episodes. And I've never understood that. Why do some cartoons that have a lot of potential to them only have 13 episodes? Why is that always the magic number before they get canceled? If someone could explain that to me, I'd be glad to hear the reason why. Anyway, for this review, we're going to be looking at my favorite episode of the series, Plan 9 from Mission Hill, or I Married a Gay Man from Outer Space. We open up with one of our main characters, named Kevin, walking by a movie theater. It turns out that the movie theater is playing X-rated movies, and just like any teenage boy, he is implicitly drawn to it. However, it turns out that one of the movies they are playing is Midnight Cowboy, and predictably, it isn't the type of movie he's thinking of.
I don't think I can walk anymore, Joe. I keep falling down.
When is the filth going to start?
Kevin runs into his neighbor Wally, who just so happens to be a projectionist at the theater. Wally ends up explaining to Kevin that back in the day, X-rated films were films that covered serious issues and were meant for adults, not necessarily pornographic features.
Porno movie? Oh, back in the 60s, they gave the X to serious films meant for adults. Most of them wouldn't rate a PG-13 these days.
Kevin becomes interested in classical cinema, and he and Wally quickly form a friendship over it. Wally even explains to Kevin what true cinema really is.
Because this film was a personal vision, not a marketing machine like the pictures these days. Ratso Rizzo's not the kind of character that looks good on Taco Bell cups.
Be sure to remember that, because we're going to come back to it again soon. So we see that Kevin and Wally are just having the time of their lives watching old movies together. However, one day, Kevin discovers that they're going to be playing a movie called The Man from Pluto. And it is here that Wally starts acting really strange, telling Kevin to go outside and not come back for a few weeks. It's pretty clear that he has some demons in the closet.
It looks like Gus. Kevin, a boy your age shouldn't spend all his time at the movies, but why don't you go outside and play some hopscotch or something? You can come back here again in 2 weeks or so. There's a good lad.
Gus is Wally's lover, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that already. Anyway, Kevin's older brother, Andy, ends up showing the flyer to Gus at his restaurant. And yeah, it turns out that it actually is him on the flyer. It turns out that Wally directed a movie a really long time ago, and has always said that it was lost. With this knowledge, Kevin ends up going on a fox hunt just to find any copy he can of the movie and just find out any information he can as well. And through his efforts, he's able to get a full house on opening night. But it turns out that Wally was pretty much the Ed Wood of their universe, and everybody in the audience starts laughing, much to Wally's embarrassment. This, of course, ends up putting a giant strain on his relationship with Kevin.
How come they're laughing at me, Wally? You're supposed to be scared.
That's it, love. We're going. Wally, I'm sorry.
The next day, Wally's just sitting on the top of the building, trying to hide from the world. And Andy and his other roommates come up and they're making fun of the movie. However, they immediately stop when they see him because they're not trying to be disrespectful or anything. And they even ask him how the movie came to be in the first place. It turns out that in the 50s, he had big plans of making a movie that was a critique on the Cold War politics of the time. He even had a chance to work with people like Charlton Heston and Paul Newman. However, everything changed when he first saw Gus as a stagehand, and it was love at first sight.
Mr. Langford, Where you want me with this?
Oh, where wouldn't I want you with that?
So Wally decides to cast Gus as the main character in the film, even though Gus can't act for shit. And after extensive rewrites and an ever-lowering budget, the result ends up being not very good, as we already know. In the end, though, Wally professes that he would do it all in a heartbeat again if he had to, because he loves Gus and Gus loves him. Wally goes back to work to show his own film again, and he's just spending the whole time in the projection booth nitpicking every little mistake he made. However, Kevin shows up and reminds him about personal vision, and how the film itself is just one giant Valentine to the man he loves. And Wally ends up taking the message to heart, and when he sees how people are actually saying positive things about the film, that just makes it even better for him, thus rekindling his friendship with Kevin. The episode ends with Wally going home and finding Gus in bed with the fishbowl helmet from the movie. He ends up taking the helmet off of Gus, kisses him on the forehead, and goes to bed with a clean conscience. Wally no longer has to live in fear of his own movie, and he can get that skeleton out of the closet. I never understood why this show didn't make it very big. It's got the heart, it's got good writing, the animation is not the best, but I mean, it is good enough. But in the end, it's whatever. All I can do now is just suggest that you go watch it, and if you like it, buy the DVD and support the creators. That's it for this review. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Penis, 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 penis.